Hello, my name is Arnaud Guimond, and in this video I will show you um, my last student project, Chrome Arena Infinite. So I made this video to show you what I did in this project, what was my role, where I struggled. So let's start. I make this video in English. I'm French. For training purpose, for job application. So what is Chrome Arena Infinite? Um, I can start with my game design document, which I wrote myself with my colleagues. So we have what is a type of the game is a first-person shooter in an arena. Type beat them all with some roguelite elements. So it's science fiction with some cyberpunk style. So we have the speed, we have the goal of the game, what is the start, when the player starts the game, how he progress, what is the end, what are the inspirations, and here I detailed what's happened in the game. We have some ideas for challenges, what the player can do, so mechanics. We have melee combat, range weapons, movement abilities, power-ups, weapon wheel, experience system, what are the controls. We have some rational design here for the weapons. We have his melee weapon. Each weapon have a secondary attack, primary and secondary. So pistol, machine gun, shotgun, rocket launcher, and laser cannon. Blue means weak, and red means strong. And we have some stats, some details. Here we have some diagram with I did with in UML. So here's a Flail, the melee weapon of the player. I explain here what the weapon does, and here are the upgrade tree for the weapon. So what is a circle? It means we upgrade a stats. Here is damage, and here when it's a square, it's a feature. So here we can buy the secondary attack, third attack, an AoE at the end of the combo. For example, we have the pistol, very simple, the machine gun. So each weapon have their own weapon tree. Here are some gadgets we did for the player. Now we have the grappling hook, a double jump, a jetpack. Here are some ideas that we didn't do. We didn't have the time, we forgot. We only have 3 months full time for doing the game. We were 9, 4 programmers and 5 artists. So we have the dash. Here is what happens when the player is dead in the arena. It was some IDs we have. So does the player keep his weapon and their upgrades? Does he lost some money? Does he lost all his experiences or his gadgets? Can we restart directly at a higher level of the game, trading money or experience, something like that? So other environment, we have the enemies. So here's the 4 enemies we have in the games. The spider bot, the black bug bot, or and the fight bot. Does or in the ground. Spider bot and the fight bot does melee damage, and the block bot does range damage. We have a kamikaze which move in the air, and he can launch grenades, so range attacks, and he can self-destruct. Here we talk about the arena. Here we have the power-ups, so invulnerability, infinite ammo, damage multiplier, some heals, ammo, and here's the money of the game. We thought about some traps in the arena. We couldn't do it. Some crates too, to destruct, to gain some more power up. And how the interface work, and that's all. Also, I did a hack and plan to for the organization of the project. So here are the boards. So at first we didn't really use it, and then I tried to I insisted with the action plan, because in my last project we were very not organized at all. So I really wanted my last project to be to work well. So I was basically the only person to use to remind my team to go update, check the action plan and all, because they really tend to forget about it. So we have multiple categories. The green ones are for the programmers, for the character, enemies, the level design and some sounds. Also bug tracking. And the blue ones are for the artist. So the design, the concept. The 2D for UI. And 3D modeling and the animations. Okay, so now we are in Unreal 4. I will show you. So this project is made with C++ and blueprints. I did character and the weapons, also a projectile class. Okay, so let's launch Visual Studio. Okay, so here is Visual Studio. We are on the character class. So my role on this project was the characters and weapons mainly. So I tried to stay organized on in my code, because as you can see, we have 350 lines, so it can be very messy quickly. So I did some regions for the combat and the movement. Here are the base function of the base class. I didn't touch it. So let's go in movement. For the gadget, for example, the grappling hook, I use some boolean. Lots of variables, lots of boolean for state purpose, like is the player shooting a grapple, is the player does the player has touch something with his grapple, does he is he dashing, for example, is he flying. It's mainly for animations. We have some variables for example, a dash, the dash bump. When we do dash, we have a little bump in the air. We have a reference to the grapple. The fuel for the jetpacks. So here for the jump jetpack double jump. So we have the jump function, a stop function. So this is Unreal function that I override. Maybe we can see them here. So this is when it can be messy. We have to search for the function. We have a double jump. So for example, we have when the player lands on the ground, we make the solid velocity to the base velocity. DD double jumped, we set it to false. We set it not flying anymore, and we set the jump max all time to the base one. So mainly, I will not stay too long here, but here we have everything for the dash force in the air, the dash force on the ground. So I commented almost every line. Maybe a little too much, can be messy. There is some things we maybe do not need, for example, grapple equipped, do we really need a comment for this? Here for the combat, so we have a weapon wheel, so open the weapon wheel, close the weapon wheel. So here for the input, function to equip a weapon at the index given in the inventory. Here we have the array of weapons. This is a weapon inventory. So HP, we have damage multipliers for power-ups or upgrades. Here we append, we queue for the melee combo, melee attacks, aerial attack, and some references to some sound and animation. So this is function to equip weapons. Maybe there's a better solution, but I spent really a long time on the weapon inventory, etc. It took me a very long time, and so when it worked, I said, okay, it worked. Next. So do primary attack. So here is the request when player does the input for primary attack. We check if the weapon equipped is not null, and so we launch his primary attack. We will see the weapons just after this. So we have heal when we pick up a power up for heal. Add weapons when we unlock a new weapon. Here is for adding ammo to weapons when we pick up ammo power up. Okay, so let's go to the weapons. So I weapon base class, and then I divide it in a range weapon and melee weapon. Even if we have only one melee weapon, I prefer this way. So the base class of the weapon are really simple, really basics. It's just a constructor and an enum. This is for the inventory. So each weapon gonna have an enum. So we have the primary attack, secondary attack, which are blueprint implementable. Each features are implemented in blueprint. Here is just a generics code, generics behavior. We have an event when we equip the weapon, an event when we disequip the weapon. We have the crosshair, unique to each weapon, his icon, the mesh, reference to the player. Does the secondary attack is unlocked? Is the secondary attack unlocked? Sorry. We have equip sound, primary attack sound. So some references, but very basics. Very basics. Now melee weapon. After that, we're going to see the blueprint. So the melee weapon has property easy meleeing, so easy attacking. We have a combo index. We have the max combo because the player have to unlock the combo in the shop. We have the animation of the player, of the weapon. I think these ones are deprecated. I'm not sure I used it. It's been almost 2 months. I didn't open the project, so it's not very clear. Yes, we have the damage the weapon does. Do we have the smash attack? This is when so this is the aerial attack. This is the AoE attack. It's either at the end of the combo or when we do the aerial damage. We can do an explosion, so the player have to unlock it. We have the hitbox of the weapon, animation of the attacks, and that's all. We have the constructor when we create the hitbox, we attach it to a socket. I used sockets very often in the project. We will see after. So now range weapon. So here is the range weapon. So we have a scene component for the projectile origin, where because in the game we do projectile based weapon, only when the laser cannon is hit scan. We have so the function to add ammo when we pick up the ammo power up. The max ammo, the current ammo, the cost of the primary attack in ammo, the cost in secondary attack of ammo, so the primary damage, secondary damage, and here is for the unlimited ammo power up. And yes, and does easy shooting, because each weapon are animated when we shoot. So this is for the animation. And so we have a function that check if the our current ammo allow us to shoot. So it's here. We give the ammo cost. So for example, if we because since the primary attack and secondary attack do not cost the same, we have to check. So if the ammo allowed to shoot, we can consume ammo. Unless we have unlimited ammo, we just return. If not, we can subtract ammo cost to the current ammo. Okay, I think that's all for the CPP. There is not that much because in my team people were not really kind with the CPP. It's true that it's very difficult. I insist, I wanted to do C++ because for a challenge, blueprints it's more easier, but I wanted to train C++. So I didn't do much C++ because for my team it's hard to debug when there's a problem with CPP. They didn't want go check C++ code. So I think now we can go check the player blueprint. So it's in the third-person character, the base one. See the event graph. So it's still, I think it's still huge, personally. So the begin play, what we do, we just add the HUD. I get stat, so subsystem, the movement ability in the equipment. Maybe I need to show how it works in the game before. So let's play. Here we are in the hangar. It's our main menu. And so we can upgrade our character. We can upgrade with levels. So we can upgrade stats, ammo, Chrome multiplier, so it's for the money multiplier, his jetpack fuel, and damage overall. So here are the stats. Here's the weapon shop. So this is what we have, with some description, some stats here, the price. And once you unlock the weapon, you can go to the tech, and you have the weapon tree, the blade tree. You have the movement, you can do dash, double jump. So here's the abilities, and here's the weapon upgrades. So for the flail, for the pistol, machine gun. So since we do not have unlocked them, they are not available. Okay. So here for the stats, the abilities, and the equipment. So equipment are for the flail, pistol, cut launcher, etc. And once we have all the available unlocked weapons. we equipped the first one as the index 0. The subsystem is not from me, but I used it. So we get the player subsystem, we check does the player has unlocked the weapon. It's true. We we create the weapon and we add it in the weapon inventory. Here we have also the combo. We have damage, the damage multiplier. Okay. So after that, we test how the player is alive. Okay. So this is not from me. Here are the CPP implementation of the weapon inventory. At first, I did it on blueprints, where I create all weapons that I added in the weapon inventory. But after I did it with that, here are just for debug purpose. Here are some power-ups. So we have the damage boost. So I put the damage multiplier to 4, like the quad damage in Doom. And we have 10 seconds. After that, we reset to default the damage multiplier. And so we have a little FX around the player to show the player he has a power up. Here is invulnerability, so the player is not damageable anymore for 10 seconds. Here are the unlimited ammo. So we check every weapon in the weapon inventory. We check if it is a rage weapon, and if it is, we say ammo unlimited, so it does not consume ammo anymore. Once it's the loop is over, we set the FX, and after 10 seconds we recheck all the weapons, unless for the pistol. So does the weapon is the weapon a range weapon? If yes, is it a pistol? If it's not a pistol, we set the unlimited ammo to false, because the pistol have unlimited ammo all the time. It's the base range weapon for the player. He starts with it. Here are the implementation of when the player take damage. So we subtract some life HP to the player. So here for the weapon wheel. So when the player want to open the weapon wheel, we put the weapon wheel to visible. We add it to the viewport, and we set the input mode to game and UI. We show the mouse cursor, and we slow down the time and the global pitch for the sound. Here is aiming implementation. So I use a timeline. So at first, when the player does not aim or shoot, he can move freely, and when he shoot or aim, he rotates at the direction of the camera, in the same direction. And here's a timeline when where we set the field of view progressively, just with a linear function. I think it's good for the character. Let's now go to the equipment, and I will just show what can I show? Shotgun. Yes, let's go for the shotgun. So we have the mesh, the animation. We can see it. So the shotgun can shoot pellets and grenade. Here is the actor. Maybe I forgot to show the skeletal mesh of the player, because like I said, I used some sockets. So here we have face sockets for the little texture here. And when the player is hit, we change the material to the red cross. So yes, the face socket is attached to the head. We have the jetpack socket. If the player does not have the jetpack, this is invisible. So this is the mesh for the mesh socket. And this is for the fire. When the jetpack is used, we have some fire it goes from here. Here we have the grapple socket when the player uses the grappling hook attached to the wrist. And I have the weapon socket on the right palm, just here. So the weapon are all attached here. And we have a dash socket. This is for the FX. When we do a dash, we have a little FX that's played here. Okay, that's all. I can just show you the mesh here, because we have the muzzle socket which serves for the projectile origin. When we shoot, it goes from here. And we have a left hand for the big weapons. The shotgun, the machine gun, and laser cannon have this. I will show you in the animation. I use the IK system for the left hand to go here. Okay, so the event graph of the shotgun. So here is the reference to the player. The shotgun gets his upgrade from the subsystem. So like we can see here, the damage. So here for the spread, we have a spread upgrade for tight the spread. And what? So when we equip the weapon, we change the mesh of the weapon of the player, and we play the sound. We attach the projectile origin to the socket. We try to stop aiming. So does the player is shooting? Is the weapon shooting? Is the player aiming? And if not, we stop the aiming. So here we have primary attack and secondary attack function implementation. So does the ammo allow to shoot? I use the macro for so it's less messy in the graph. Here we have a cooldown. So when we shoot, I think it's here. I don't remember, but when we shoot, we put a cooldown that's going to reset the do once. Okay, we have a cooldown bar for some weapons, for shotguns and laser cannon, because since they are much slower, we wanted to show the player when he can shoot and when he cannot. But for much faster weapons, we didn't made the cooldown bar. Here, get cooldown. So we set the get cooldown and we launch on cooldown. Okay, so we aim here when we shoot. We shoot the pellets, so we consume the ammo. We play FX, we play the sound, we play the animation. I do an recast to get where the projectile have to go. So for that I get the player head, and I trace from the head to the forward of the camera further. And so this is where the projectile are going to go. Okay, I think for the shotgun that's all, and Flail, just to show how the melee works. So we have a primary attack. Does the player is in the ground or in the air? So first we check is the aerial attack is unlocked. I check if the player is near the ground. I check if the player is in the air, etc. I do lots of testing to check is in the air or is in the ground. Enfin, aerial attack or ground attack. Okay. Maybe I not need to go too much in details. When I disequip, so I reset some variables, so it does not melee anymore. His combo is reset to 0. I put the hitbox to no collision. I reset the appending. When here is when the hitbox hits. So I apply damage to the enemy. So I check if I do not hit the players, because sometimes the hitbox can overlap on the player. And then I apply damage. Okay, so good for the Flail. Now we're almost done, I think. I'm just gonna check animations quickly. Some UIs. I've really done some UI at the end of the project because I finished all my work. So animation blueprint. Animations. Here are the animation. We have some blend space, some sequence, montage. So is the combo for the Flail, the attack. Here is when the aim offset, or the player can look up and down. And so the blueprint. Here's the event graph. So I have a long update animation. So I get all of these states. We can see here. Does the player is in air? What is his speed? His aim offset? Is he dead? If he's dead, we play animation. Is he flying? Grappling? Here's a left-hand socket for the weapons. I have a function so we can get the left-hand socket of the current weapon of the player. So here is the player. We check the weapon. Does the left-hand socket exist? If yes, we return the transform of the socket. We say to the blueprint that the socket exists, so we can activate the IK. Dashing animation. Here we have the aiming, the meleeing. Okay. So I have some notifies for the melee. When we enter the melee, we play the animation of the weapon, because the Flail is animated too. We have when the animation is done. So here is the smash attack, the aerial attack. So when we do the aerial attack, so we place the animation of the weapon alongside the player one. So we say it's meleeing, and we disable input. Set gravity scale to 0. It's a little. I will show you a little bit maybe on the gameplay. It's a little bump when we do the air attack, like in the Ratchet & Clank. Okay, here is the reset when we smashed. Okay, so notify, and now quickly the state machine. So here is the 2-bone IK for the weapons. So what do we have? Locomotion state machine. So this is my state machine. So idle run animation. We check if we're aiming, because it's not the same animation. We have 2D animation when the player still face the same direction, and we have 1D animation. So it depends if he's aiming or not. Okay. So I will not show every animation, of course. So here is the attack. First attack. The middle attack and the final attack. I can show you. So it's a smash attack that can trigger an explosion. So what it can be interesting? Maybe no. This non animation is just for transition, if I remember. Jump, smash. So the smash starts. So this is a little pirouette when we start the aerial attack. This is a fall state of the smash attack, and when he hits the ground, he smashes to the ground. Okay, so this is when the player is pulled by his grappling hook. So this is the jetpack, when we fly with the jetpack. And I think that's gonna be it for animations. For the UI, what I really did, it's I corrected some typo, some bugs, some buttons were not implemented, did not work. I'm not sure it's really interesting. I did the credit screen, so I'm here. I did not really create things. I mostly corrected or redo if some things were off. Maybe what I did was in the where is it, option screen. I did the input remapping. So this is from me. How I did it was we have an input remapper. So a button, here's the input key selector. So with the input remapper, I put a panel of input remapper. So we have the action and we have the axis to move or secure weapon. And cheat menu. I did a cheat menu. We don't see them here. It's in the main menu. You can add yourself 100,000 chrome or 100 levels. Just to test, we can do it here. We have the option, we can activate cheat mode, we can add chrome levels, we can close, go start, and we have 100 unspent levels we can spend here. We can buy our weapons. Okay, now we have all the trees. We can do grenade launcher for the shotgun. We can increase the number of pellets here. We can decrease the spread, add ammo capacity. We can buy the movement. So rocket launcher ammo, reduce damage. Is a seeking missile. So maybe what I did mention was that alongside the secondary attack, for the rocket launcher we launch a rocket, secondary attack is a napalm missile, and we also have sometimes just added feature, like here we can have a seeking missile for the rocket launcher. For the laser cannon, for example, we can so the secondary attack is a laser stream, and the added feature is a propagation, so when you hit an enemy it can hit also a closer target. For the machine gun we can uncap the fire rate. For the pistol just have a repulse shot. I think it's funny, we can buy it. Here's a spin attack, secondary attack, and here's the added feature. Maybe I can show you. So what I did here, for example, is when we press start, you have the elevator. So this is from me, and also in the arena. Okay. So here we have but we can fly, we can dash, we can do the spin attack, I just bought. So here's a spider bot. We have the kamikaze here. We have the rocket launcher here.
I bet you are still alive. Let's send more robots against you.
As a machine gun, so the fire rate is capped. For some, you have to shoot some bullet before it goes full auto. Here's a shotgun. We can launch grenade. So it's a bouncy grenade. Can bounce. Here's a laser cannon. As you see, I just shot one shot and everyone is dead. So it's the normal shot. You can do this.
I hope you're happy. You made me lose a bet.
The alternative fire is this.
Sure you would die on
Or laser stream. Okay, I think that's good. So here's a damage boost. This is little FX. This is for healing. This is unlimited ammo, so we can see here unlimited weapon wheel, so we can select our weapon. Okay, what not? Ammo. Okay. Maybe the grapple I didn't show. Oh, so this grapple is from me too. We have the screen, it's not from the screen. Here's the shield, so invulnerability. So you have the full combo with no explosion. Okay, I think we did it all. So I did the pause menu. We have in the cheat mode in the arena. We can kill yourself. We can stop the spawn of the enemies. We can stop them to move. So now it doesn't move. Normally the block bot try to flee from me. He doesn't move. I saw a dead video setting, but I'm not sure it works well. We did it the last day of the works. But yeah, that's good. I think we did it. So that was my part of Chrome Arena Infinite. Thanks for watching, and bye.